Danvers Conservation Commission meeting for January 26, 2023. We as a commission operate under the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Chapter 26 of the Town of Danvers General Bylaws, the Wetlands Protection Bylaw. After each applicant presents his or her request and the board has had time to ask questions and discuss the project, we will accept questions from the audience. Because this is a public meeting, it is required by law that you give your name and address first. Although we may disagree on the issues raised, all persons present during this meeting are expected to be civil to all other meeting attendees. This includes the members of the commission, staff, abutters, concerned citizens, property owners, and project applicants. We also request that you confine your questions to the project and only as it pertains to the Wetlands Act. We cannot handle, nor do we have jurisdiction regarding such things as noise or traffic. All problems not related to the Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Danvers Wetlands Protection Bylaw must be taken up with the other appropriate boards. First order of business is a roll call. Peter Wilson is present. Vanessa Curran.
Present.
Ann McGill.
Present.
Michael Splain.
Yeah.
Okay, the first order on our agenda is a request for certificate of compliance for 21 Ingersoll Street, DEP file number 14-0413. The applicant is the Town of Danvers, and Georgia will give us a bit of background on this.
Thank you, Peter. So we do have the first four items on the agenda are requests to close out open and expired permits that the town has. And I'm just going to briefly explain. I will discuss all of them interchangeably, and they aren't public hearings as a reminder. So just as a bit of background, I have up on the screen here, if people are familiar with the Glen Magna property, it is connected to Endicott Park. So on the screen here, my cursor is showing the Endicott Park building, and you'll see the round driveway that leads through Endicott Park. So that's a good teller of where you are on the map. The Glen Magna property is outlined in red, and the three circles you see are the three areas where we have open permits. These open permits have come to light and have been requested to be closed because the Glen Magna property, which is owned by the Danvers Historical Society, is going to be acquiring land from Endicott Park. Just going to change the screen here quickly. This isn't very relative to the Conservation Commission, but it does provide a bit of background on why these are needing to be closed. So this building right here in the center of the screen is the mansion of Glen Magna, which is shown here, the main building. So the land encompassed in red is owned by the Town of Danvers, and it's what referred to as Endicott Park, essentially, owns this land, but it really is used by Glen Magna for their parking on the parking lot here. And then there's a gravel service road that wraps around Glen Magna and leads to Endicott Park, across from the pond here. So when the process to give that land from Endicott to the Historical Society is a very long time. It takes a long time. And in that process, they said, hey, there's 4 open orders of conditions on the property here. We're trying to clean this up so we can do the land sale. And a part of that is them closing out the open orders. But really, 3 of them have nothing to do with Glen Magna. As the commission knows, 2 are for the dog park over here on the bottom right, and then 1 is for the fishing platform. There is one older order of conditions, 0413, and that goes back to the 90s, I believe, and that was for this gravel parking lot, and that has been completed. I reviewed the proposed plans with the conditions that are out there now, and they remain exactly the same. So from speaking with town council, they have requested from me to ask the commission to close out fully the order that affects the Glen Magna property, and then partially close out the remaining 3 that have to just do with Endicott Park. If the commission does approve that, then my job will be to work with town council to make sure the correct book and page reference is made on that certificate of compliance when it is recorded. And I do have Chris here to speak to if the commission had any questions on the work that's left for the other properties. Our decision was to not fully close out those other ones, only because 2 of them are still open, and they don't, he's still afforded time to keep them open should they want to make modifications or maintenance. And the other one is expired and the work's done, but we just haven't had time to connect with Steve King to get as-built plans and go out there and do the full closeout process. So for this administratively, town council has just said, hey, is there any way the commission can take out the Magna portion so we can continue the land sale? And then when Chris is ready, he can close it out with Steve King officially. So that is the long and short end of the 4 orders requesting to be closed out. 1 is partial, 1 is full. If the commission, 3 are partial, 1 is full. If the commission wanted to issue the 1 full, if they wanted to, and then they could issue the partials all in 1 motion, so you don't have to go.
Do it in 1 vote?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 votes, 1 for the full, 1
Yeah.
for the
For the
3
partial.
partial.
Okay. Makes
So
it quicker.
any questions, I'm happy to answer, and then Chris is here if you guys want to ask him about the work. But,
No.
yeah.
Okay, so on the first one, and we're going to vote on these by their DEP numbers, that the name?
That's
Oh.
correct.
Okay. Just on this map, where was this work, Georgia?
For the first one,
Right,
I'm going to zoom in here.
0413?
And I apologize, it may be a little blurry. But if you were to come down past the community gardens and pull up to the Magna Mansion, if you've ever been to a wedding here, there's a big stone dust parking lot. And then there's a small service road. It has 2 big do not enter signs, but that's the road that the park rangers use. And you can barely see it, but it loops around here, comes around, and then goes to the pond, and that's what then connects to outer Endicott Park. And it's always remained stone dust. I think they may top dress it once in a while, but it's really in the exact footprint it's been in.
And it's as it was built, as it was said it was going to be built.
Exactly,
That-
yep.
Built as planned. Okay, thanks. Mike, you have any questions?
Just, how much land is being transferred?
I had a feeling you may have asked. So it looks like this big, large parcel, it's about 127,000 square feet, so 2.9 acres.
And that's going to be used, what's it presently used for?
So right now, if you look, this is that parking lot I was just talking about
Yeah.
here. And then this is the service road that wraps around. So really, it's going to be used for exactly what it's used for now, but now it's formally owned by the Danvers Historic Society.
Is that going to restrict parking for people that come onto the Endicott now?
Well, people from Endicott don't really park there anyway, and I'm sure they may,
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
yeah, okay. Well, that was my question, so.
Okay, Ann, any questions?
No, I walk this whole area all the time, so,
Yeah, you know.
I
well,
know, I
yeah.
know, yeah.
Vanessa, any questions?
No, don't have any.
Okay, if someone make a motion, this is the certificate of compliance, so it's not a public hearing, is that correct?
Correct.
Right.
Okay, so, someone can make a motion, we'll, do,
I'll make a motion on DEP file number 14-0413, that we issue a full certificate of compliance for that project, as it was represented that the grading was done and it continues to be in that condition where it's entitled to a certificate of compliance now.
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next up is a request for a partial certificate. Georgia, hopefully it's not a big bother, but let's just do these one by one. Just get a quick description of
That's
each
a good idea.
piece of land, and then it'll take us 2 seconds to vote, so.
Oh,
So the next one is
yes. Do you want me to-
14-228, 1228?
Do you want me to pull the map up again?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Just a second. Okay. Sorry, it has a little bit of a lag here. Not sure what's happening. While I pull this up, I will start the intro. So 141228 is the DEP file number for the overall dog park construction, and that was issued in 2013. Obviously, the work for that is completed because the dog park is open and up and running. They came in again, what year was that? April 2021 to add ADA handicap accessibility improvements.
Right.
That order is still open. So once that work is done, which I believe it is, there may be some utility work left to complete come warmer weather. But once that's done, both those orders can be closed out at the same time.
So what are we, as the partial, what are we approving tonight?
So in that motion, you would
To
say a
Glen
partial
Magna.
certificate of compliance to remove the Glen Magna property. And then when I issue the certificate of compliance, I'll have that correct book and page. If you want to make it formal, you could say 29 Ingersoll Street, which is the address for Glen Magna property.
I actually wanted to ask a question on that, because
Yeah.
the header on the memo says 21 in Ingersoll Street, multiple requests, but Glen Magna 21 or 29?
Glen Magna is 29.
Okay,
The orders of conditions are referenced to 21
Yeah.
Ingersoll, which is the Endicott Park overall. So by saying we are issuing a partial certificate of compliance, releasing anything that involved 29 Ingersoll, which would
Okay.
be Glen Magna.
okay.
And then when I make that official form, I'm waiting on town council to record this land sale, and then there'll be a book and page for reference for us to use.
Is that the same concept for the next two as
Yes.
well? Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to go on to the last one?
Then why don't we vote on
Okay.
12228
Yes.
now? Unless anyone, does anyone else have questions? Ann, Mike?
No.
No,
Good.
I'll
I'm
make a motion
Sure.
on this one, and they should do the other two, I think. All right, I'll make a motion as to DEP file number 14-1228, that we issue a partial certificate of compliance as it relates to 29 Ingersoll Street, the Glen Magna property, but not as to the Danvers Dog Park portion of, as it relates to 21 Ingersoll, is that street?
Yeah,
Yeah, Ingersoll Street. And that, so that the partial certificate only is, we're only releasing Glen Magna, but not the Danvers Dog Park.
Thanks.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next is a request for a partial certificate of compliance for 29 Ingersoll Street, DEP file number 14-1358.
So this project is still open. This was issued in January 27th of 2021, so there's about another year left on this. If the commission recalls, this was for the handicap fishing platform upgrades right in this area with a walking path
right.
leading to the handicap parking.
Did that get completed?
So I believe that has been completed.
Yeah.
Chris, do you, maybe the one question we asked you is,
I would, good evening. I would say it's about 98% complete. We loamed and seeded this past fall. We'd like to leave the order of conditions open so that we can come back in the spring, do some more seeding, just to allow that grass to thicken up.
What did you do for the handicap for the access?
So we ended up doing an ornamental concrete walkway, and that went from the handicap parking space out to the platform itself.
That works.
Works perfect.
That's
It actually blends in with the
Right.
landscape well, I think.
I was out there yesterday,
Thank
you.
or the day
Thank you.
before, on the
Oh.
snowshoes.
thank you, Chris.
The one day you could do it.
Oh.
Okay, does anyone have any questions?
No.
Nope? Mike? No?
No, no?
Go ahead, do your thing.
They, let them, Ann do it.
I
Let
make a motion that we
let
issue
Vanessa
a,
do it.
okay, did you do the partial certificate? Which one did you do?
This is 3.
Okay. Oh, I've got the old things. What's
The
Do you want me to
1358.
do it?
Yeah, do it, because I've got I got the wrong numbers.
Go ahead,
I'll
Vanessa.
make a motion that we issue a partial certificate of compliance for 29 Ingersoll Street, DEP file number 14-1358, just releasing the Glen Magna address from the order of conditions.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 4, request for a partial certificate of compliance for 29 Ingersoll Street, DEP file number 14-1363.
Yep, so this was the handicap accessibility upgrades to the dog park again. So same exact area, except the order of conditions for the original build had expired and they had opened up a new one. So that is still open, that expires in April of 2024.
And this just closes the original?
Is that what?
This, say that
Closing
again?
the original, is that what?
No, this would just release the Glen Magna property out of this DEP file number. They're not ready to issue a full certificate of compliance for the dog park.
Okay. All right. You're earning your salary on these, aren't you? Okay, any questions?
No.
Mike?
No.
Anyone?
Okay.
Okay, someone can make a motion.
I'll make a motion, excuse me, that we issue a partial certificate of compliance for 29 Ingersoll Street, DEP file number 14-1363.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next up is a notice of intent for 24 Princeton Street, DEP file number 14-1392. The applicants, John and Jane McQuirk, have requested us to continue until 2/9. So someone can make a motion that we'll continue that hearing until then?
I'll make a motion that we continue the public hearing for 24 Princeton Street, DEP file number 14-1392 to our next meeting on February 9th.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next is a request for a certificate of compliance, 59 Riverview Avenue, DEP file number 14-1365. The applicant is Michael D. Platzi. I think, Georgia, this will be pretty much on whatever you have to report to us?
Well, I was under the impression that at least the engineer or the applicant would be here. They usually do attend.
Take care, Chris.
I did hold a site visit. Usually the commission's process is to have at least someone here to represent, so I'm not sure where the applicant is.
Did you didn't hear anything from them that they wouldn't attend?
No, but we did inform them that we could fit them in on this meeting, and they did submit everything. So they had originally submitted for the deadline for the next meeting, but we had accommodated them for this one, so they were planned to be here. But if we want to, I suggest continuing it till the end of the meeting, until after Green Street. If they come, then the commission can address it. If not, then we would
That's a
just
good idea. Yeah, why
address
don't
it
you
at the next meeting.
Okay, otherwise we'll just push it off, and it's,
Yeah, and then it can
Right.
go to the next meeting. It's not a public hearing, and you're not required to act on it, so
right. But
continuing is no issue.
there were some changes, right? So we want to have someone
Yeah, I
tell
think
us what they were. why.
anytime, yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so we'll just skip that one for the moment. Next up is a notice of intent for 47 Green Street, DEP file number 14-1396. The applicants are Kevin Talbot and Brian Linsky. They said, Brian, is that right? Yeah. Is Bill here tonight, or?
Bill is supposed to call in, and I believe he is at another hearing, so it may be that he hasn't called in yet. If you want to handle questions until he arrives, or if you want to take over, I'll leave that up to you guys.
Hi, Brianne Linsky, 47 Green Street. And Tyler.
Could you speak up? Yeah,
Brianne Linsky, 47 Green Street.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and
We just want to pepper her with questions right off the bat, we might as well.
well, those of us who are voting were at the site visit. You were there. Bill outlined the project. I think it was marked off, flagged. We walked the area.
Mhm.
So I don't know that I have any further questions. I
Okay.
think I understand the project.
I have one quick question. What is your timeline for construction if you were to have? all
We
your
are
permits?
waiting for the green light from you guys. We're ready to go.
Do you have a building permit? The building permit is
This is being,
contingent on us?
yes.
Well, do you feel we need any more information?
Information, no. I think we just have to discuss how we want to proceed.
Yeah.
Ann, do you have any questions? I know you can't vote, but you were out there and you saw, and you,
Right, right. No, I don't have any questions. I remember, as I'm sitting here processing, yes, I remember this.
The only concerns the board have, well, if I may?
yes, you go. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, we want to make sure that the barn and the outbuildings get removed before you occupy the property.
Before we occupy, not a problem.
Not a
Yeah,
problem.
right,
Nope.
okay.
Are you living in the house now?
No. Nope.
All right. So if that, and you, staff, you mentioned about the no disturb markers. You know what those are?
Yes.
Yeah. And they go along every 25 feet along the limit. And then, of course, we would want erosion control.
Right, if Bill's
Put in
got all
place.
that on the.
Which we had mapped out, I believe, on the original
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if
Okay.
they understand all that.
The smaller of the two sheds, we have no problem taking that down.
Immediately? Yeah.
When we go and remove the back end, where the story porch here.
Right.
When we demolish that to start the construction on the addition, we can take the smaller shed down at that time. The bigger shed, the barn,
Yep.
is what we're gonna be using for storage of the materials and stuff during the construction. So we would like to keep till the end of that. But the smaller shed, if it, pleases the board, we'll more than be happy to take it down.
Okay. Ann,
Well.
anything else?
No, that was, because we did it,
Uh,
we got some.
Anything?
Vanessa, any questions?
Yeah, I just had a question about the no disturb markers. Georgia, I noticed that you suggested that they should go along the limit of the erosion control, but in some areas, should they be at the 35?
Yes, absolutely. If the commission wanted to do that, I had only chosen the limit of erosion control because that seems to be the limit of the existing edge of grass.
Yeah.
So I was affording them the same alteration line they have
I see.
over here. But the commission absolutely can set them where they want them.
So what do the markers look like, Georgia?
So the marker would be, a 4x4 post. And on top of it or on the front is a metal,
With a
the disc.
medallion? or-
Yes, that says Town of Darien. And we would have those,
The one we always use?
yes.
Yeah, but you're calling it a no disturb,
On the no disturb line?
I only call it those because the placards say wetland area do not no disturb beyond this point. So that doesn't necessarily mean they should be on the no disturb line. But if that's something the commission wants, that is more than acceptable.
Yeah, I think it's a good question.
I think we've done that on like new construction, but maybe not necessarily for existing.
That
and they will remain there?
Yes, yeah, that's
Yeah.
essentially, and the intent there is to prevent alteration beyond that point. So if the commission wanted
This is
a,
also in the barn area that's being demolished. That's where these are going, is that correct?
exactly, well, so in this instance, if, I'm trying to, the colors are very light here.
Because the new construction is gonna be within the,
Yeah, everything's within the no build, no disturb. So what are we calling the limit of erosion control here?
This black dashed line,
The what?
the black dashed line,
Yep.
All right.
and this is the 35. Sorry, it's
Yeah, yeah.
slow.
So can you just point to where where the signs will be posted?
So I had suggested posting them along the edge of the grass line, which is the erosion control line, this thick dashed black line. If the commission wanted them along the 35, they would be a little bit more into the
I
lawn.
see the issue here.
But
Yeah,
that's really the commission's preference here. It's not,
all right.
And where are the lines on the?
What is between for example, at the widest point, Georgia,
yes.
between the 35 and where you suggest we put it, what's between there? Is it grass?
I believe it's grass, because this right here says edge of grass. So this is all grass, and then this is the driveway they're proposing to keep.
Right.
Um,
All right. Yeah, I'm all right with that, too.
And then Vanessa had asked on this, of the wetland on this side, what would be our difference here if we were to put the placards on the 35 or the erosion control line? Oops, sorry. If you envision this would all be lawn, restored to loam and seed. So you could either have a thicker, wider buffer if you put your placards here, or shorter buffer if you put them on the erosion control line. And then with the understanding that the rest of this yard is remaining as it is, but of course, they're allowed to do whatever they please
Yeah.
outside of that.
But the erosion
Buffer.
control line is just a line that you're arbitrarily calling it that.
Arbitrarily, and also in that it's the edge of the existing lawn alteration now.
Yeah.
So if the commission wants to create a wider buffer, absolutely, or keep with what's there, that's fine too.
oh, good question. The question that comes into my mind is, the area that's gonna be, where the barn sits now, that's gonna be demolished, is that gonna be turned to lawn?
Yes,
Yeah.
And
That's
that will
fine.
be mowed?
yeah.
Yeah.
Be a continuation.
Where is the
Is it
35? The
lawn?
35, it said,
So it sounds like they would be proposing mowed grass lawn entirely within the 35 and the 50. If you wanted that to be restored in a natural,
Why can't it just grow back, no? Or wouldn't?
well, you could
like-
require that if that's what the commission wants.
Yeah.
If they were to do that, then I would suggest putting your no disturb placards at the 35 or the 50, and that
The
they know
50
they can't mow beyond that area, and now you have a wider buffer. You know, in this
50 is-
area, it may be healthy to have it in the 35.
I think the 50 goes through the driveway, so that's
Yeah,
not.
It
50's
does.
too. Oh, what's the rest of the board think about that?
I'm thinking that I'd like to see that, just let it go natural.
Go natural, go to its natural state.
Yeah, not a maintained lawn.
Yeah.
No, it's one thing to mow lawn, but then.
What's
lawns
on
are
the
always
floor of
fertilized.
the big barn when you open the
Concrete.
door?
Concrete, Concrete.
yeah.
That's all gonna be taken out.
That's gotta be pulled up, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that gonna, on its own, restore itself? I mean, will something have to be done to it?
No, they'll scrape back that foundation out and then bring in some nice loam.
Bring
I mean,
in
not
some-
gonna-
You're gonna have to have loam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Vanessa, is that it for questions?
Yes.
Okay, just so we're all in the same wavelength here. You folks are asking for a waiver, and in exchange for that, you know, for us looking favorably on that waiver, you said you want to take down the barn and the driveway that's associated with it. But typically, we would ask for a bond for something like this to make sure that it happens. But we've been suggested to us that as part of a condition for getting occupancy permit,
Sure.
that work would have to be done.
Yep.
Just so you understand, you don't have to put up a bond.
Okay.
That's
Sounds good to us,
it's
financially.
a deal for you, but just you know, we need to see that work done, you know, because we're
Absolutely.
giving and taking here.
Yep.
And Kevin Talbot, by the way, 47 Green Street. As Brianne said, when we take off that back little bump out where the kitchen and bathroom was, we take that smaller outcrop building down with that as well, just to fill the
Yeah,
dumpster.
that's just,
With our staging for the project, it's nice to have a roof over the stuff, so that's the only
I
reason why.
understand that, it's just,
Yeah, yeah.
we- you know, the bigger portion, the bigger return for us is the barn and
On
the,
this
Sure.
side,
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
so
Yep.
we really want to see that happen.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all set for questions, and
One more question. You see where the proposed addition is, Georgia, and where your line comes, how close it comes?
Yes.
to the erosion control?
Yeah. So you couldn't go 35 on that, could you?
No,
No, it couldn't be done.
not in this corner.
The
that's
35
why
is
we're
going
giving them the
through
waiver,
the
right?
addition. I think it's that purple
Where the
line, right?
waiver
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
But do we want 35 on the rest? 25, the board's happy with the 25? Yeah.
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Well,
He's asking where the commission would prefer to have the no disturb
no
placards.
disturbs, Peter.
If you have them in the areas where you physically can put them.
35 where possible and otherwise 25, or just leave it 25? What's the board feel about that?
Well, you don't want to have a wiggly line.
Yeah.
do you?
I would
think it would be-
suggest,
I would have the same,
Keep it consistent?
right,
Yeah.
right.
I think the two areas have much different impacts. You know, the proposed addition with the ramp, you're likely to walk outside and utilize as much of this area as
Yeah, I know.
possible.
I see that.
I think it makes sense to, if the commission wanted to explore implementing it along the 35, this would be the area to do so,
Where are you pointing? Yeah.
right here. You know, to
Right.
the greatest extent practicable, because this portion of the driveway will be pulled up.
Right, right.
That's the original wetland, too. The other
Yeah.
Yeah,
wetland is
yeah.
big.
So if you had it here, if you had your no disturb placards along this line, then you can let
Yeah.
this, I believe Bill is here.
35. Now, that line on the right, as we follow it down, how far does that continue down? Are you able to show that?
Yes. I want to pause for 1 second
Go
because
down,
Bill
go
just
down.
joined us. Hi, Bill. Can't hear you, Bill.
Folks hear me?
Yes, we can.
Now,
Oh, terrific.
I will just let you know where we're at. The commission is considering where to place the no disturb boundary markers. In my memo to the commission, I had proposed them along the erosion control line, the black dash line, as you know, and there's been discussion of implementing them along the 35 no disturb line in some areas. And I believe specifically this area, but I don't want to speak for the commission.
No.
But we're looking at this area and then where to implement them as we get closer to the house addition. And that's when you had just joined. So I apologize. I think, Mike, you were discussing.
Okay.
So go ahead and continue your discussion.
Yeah, we're ready. The area to the right with the line where the bond's being taken down,
Yes.
is that, what's the direction there? Is that northerly, easterly, with the,
What do you mean?
well, I mean, for purpose of description, is that an easterly?
Apologies. That's going to be your easterly line. So you have
Yeah.
north, south, west, your easterly
I didn't see
line.
the north. so-
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Oh, okay, I see it.
Now it's gone.
Well,
We did see it.
I did see it in the
There
upper
we go.
corner. It's got there. So really, that's, yeah, like a northeasterly
southeasterly.
line.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well.
Okay, so what our dilemma still is on where to put these markers on the
Well, I
boundary
think,
of the.
I think if I were to make a motion, I'd want the 25 on the line extending on the, we'll call that,
Erosion control line?
the westerly line, the erosion control at 25, but on the easterly line, I think I'd want it at 35.
Yes.
Can I
agree with that.
clarify, you would want it on the erosion control line or 25? Because on this side, you can't accommodate 25 feet.
No, I know, we can't accommodate,
So you would want the no disturb placards on the erosion control line on the westerly side of the site, on the western side of the site.
at 25.
Okay.
Every 25 feet?
Don't-
Yeah, yeah.
Got it,
and
okay,
want
I wasn't sure what your 25 was there, got it. Okay, perfect.
As it's shown.
Yep,
But on the other side, I think we want the 30, where that was an original wetland, we want the, as Peter pointed
Inside the
out,
35 to be
we
no
want the
disturb.
35, that, we want it at the no disturb.
would the commission want it carried all the way down the site to the driveway, or would you want it? I know, I apologize, it's hard to see this green line, I'm gonna,
Which green line?
Well, it's pretty straight, yeah?
There's the 35. It goes through the
so
barn.
this is the 35.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that'll be gone, so.
Goes down. If they're going to take the barn
See where
down
you're-
last,
It goes all the way to the street
It
practically.
goes all the way to the
Yeah.
street.
they're going to take the barn down last.
So this is Bill speaking. The part going out towards the street is maintained lawn, has been maintained lawn forever.
Yeah.
Is your intention to take that away from the owner? Would the no disturb markers really go in the areas to be restored, like the pavement removal and the barn removal?
I don't think we need to go that far
I
to
don't
the
think we
street.
want to do that.
I don't think
I'm
we
not-
want to do
I'm not
that.
advocating that.
And I think a comment that Bill didn't have an opportunity to hear, that the commission had concerns that the area would be restored to maintain grassed lawn. I think they wanted to see the area restored naturally. So that's also why there's an effort to put those markers in that area after it's been restored. They want to
Georgia,
prevent.
could you give a distance for where you have on the easterly side,
How far from,
if we take from the beginning of the line to just the back of where
Here
that
to
house
here?
is now, how far long is that?
Bill, what do you estimate that, well, that's obviously 35 feet. Because you have your wetland here.
Right.
So it would be about 35 feet of,
Yeah, but how far down? I mean, if you start just above where the barn would be taken down.
Bill, how long's that barn?
The barn's about 60 feet long.
60
50
feet
feet?
long?
Yeah.
60,
Okay.
60?
yes.
Plus that parking area,
And then the parking area, how long's that?
I
Probably
believe it's
20.
15 feet.
50?
15.
1.5.
It's either 15 or
1.5.
20.
Yeah, let's just call it 20. So if the barn's 60,
So 80.
probably 80.
So if we went to 100 feet?
Yeah, so more or less parallel to the
Yeah.
ramp going in. Just that area, I guess, northeast, is that what we decided that direction was?
I'm calling it northeasterly.
Yes.
We call it the barn
Yeah.
area, yeah.
We get the gist of it, though. We just want to have that area that's reclaimed to grow naturally and not be a maintained lawn.
Kevin and Brianna, do you understand that?
I understand it. Aesthetically, I'm not thrilled, but it is what it is. I mean, all, like, before that, and also, like, kind of behind the barn is all currently maintained lawn.
Yeah, well,
Did you say behind the barn? Like between the barn and the wetland?
Yeah, right here.
Oh.
but you have 3.5 acres. so.
But if you go farther to the northeast, in other words, going up, what's up in there? Where does the wetlands boundary?
This is your 50-foot no build. So
That's
it
the
likely
35.
spans out a
Yeah,
little
then
bit
we'll
more,
be
and
on
then
that,
this,
'cause we're not concerned with that.
No, but I'm just saying, it's still there. We're only really concerned with what's in the scope of the project. Okay, we come to an understanding on this?
I have.
Okay, so we were done with questions from the board, is that right?
Still
Okay.
a public hearing, right?
Right, so we have to ask for, is there any public input? Hearing none. I think our next thing we need to do is close the public hearing, so if someone can make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing for 47 Green Street, DEP file number 14-1396.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so
Aye.
the hearing is closed. So the first order of business is to vote on a waiver to allow the applicants to build within the restricted zones. So if someone can make a motion, is there any particular language that we need to use?
No, you can issue just the waiver. In the order, I always reference how many square
Okay.
feet.
And we'll put the conditions in the,
Do we have to
Right.
do two waivers, one for the 35 and one for the 50?
No,
Okay,
you can do them all together.
okay.
okay, so if someone's brave enough to,
I'll make a motion that
You just read it.
we grant a waiver as to the no build and no disturb, the 35 and 50-foot of our bylaw, so as to allow the applicant to build the addition, which basically lies almost entirely within that area, and that we grant that waiver.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now the next we need to vote on is a order of conditions to allow this project as a whole to move
And I'll
forward.
make a motion that we issue an order of conditions to the applicant for 47 Green Street, DEP file number 14-1396, to allow the construction of an addition to their existing property under the following conditions. The standard conditions, as well as the standard conditions, prior to the issuance of an occupancy permit by the building inspector for the new addition, the barn and outbuilding shall be removed, and the remaining areas must be stabilized with loam and seed, with the exception that the area where the barn is being removed will be allowed to be restored by its natural conditions, that installation of proposed erosion controls will be the first step in the construction process, that the erosion control areas will be posted every 25 feet on the, what I'll call the westerly side of the project.
No disturb marker.
No disturb markers. And as to the easterly side, for the 100 feet from beginning with the rear end of the barn to be removed and extending along that easterly side for 100 feet, maintain a 35-foot area marked as no disturb every 25 feet as well.
I do want to clarify that the large barn will be removed before the certificate of occupancy.
that again?
The large barn is to be removed prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy.
I thought I said that at the very
Did, but I
first
want to
thing.
clarify this. We had said outbuildings in my first one. The
Oh,
small
okay, make the
barn
distinction, yes.
can be removed
The,
prior to
the
construction.
applicant is going to remove the smaller outbuilding as one of the first steps in the process after establishing erosion controls. And as the applicant suggested, they'll be storing materials in the barn, that barn will be removed prior to the issuance of an occupancy permit. Is that understood?
Yes.
And I don't think there was,
That was good, you covered the,
yeah, I think that's it.
Second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
good luck to you folks.
Good luck with your
Thank you.
project.
Thank you, guys. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Hope to see you back here quickly for a certificate of compliance.
Perfect timing, Bill. You came right in at the right moment.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is a request for certificate of compliance for 59 Riverview Ave. It doesn't look like we have anyone trying to contact us as far as the applicant or their representative.
Good
No.
luck.
No.
That little one will be running up and down there. We'll see ya. Take care. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
I will.
I suggest
I'm a
the
gardener, too.
commission continue this one to the 2/9 meeting, and I'll contact the
Okay,
applicant.
good enough.
Yeah.
So if someone can make a motion that we'll continue this?
I'll make a motion that we
Continue.
What do you
Actually,
say,
I don't think
continue
we
the
even need to
request?
do that, 'cause
Yeah,
it's a
we'll just-
certificate of compliance. We
It's
just-
not a public hearing, but
Yeah.
really so everyone else knows out there in the world,
Okay,
so.
we're continuing the request for certificate of compliance for 59 Riverview Ave, DEP file number 14-1365.
Beautiful.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, is there any old and new business, Georgia, that we need
No,
to
there
made
is not.
aware of? Nope. Okay, if someone can make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Whoa.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Good.